Hey, David at Presence Videography. One of the questions I get asked quite a lot is how we measure our distance when we're kayaking, because we do a lot of kayaking trips, and whether you're planning your kayaking trip and you want to see how far it's going to be, or whether you've been on a kayak trip and you want to check distances of the actual route paddled, I'm going to show you a quick, easy, and accurate way to measure distance for your kayaking trip. Of course, this is applicable whether you're paddleboarding, canoeing, or kayaking, or any type of boating, and on land activities as well. And it's pretty easy. And again, we use this technique regularly when planning or after trips. I'm going to illustrate this technique using a trip we recently did off San Juan Island in the Pacific Northwest. This was at the northern end of San Juan Island, starting from Roche Harbor. And so what I'm going to do first is find our starting point. And if you want to see the full video of this Roche Harbor kayak trip, check out our channel. I'll also put a link in the description to the Roche Harbor video in case you're interested. Okay, step one, we're going to go to our starting point on Google Maps. So google.com/maps. And I am going to right-click on the starting point. So we started at the Roche Harbor boat ramp. I'm going to click Measure Distance. And you can scroll around. You can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. But you can left-click to add new points. You can switch to the satellite view if you want to look at what's going on with beaches and boat piers and all that kind of thing. If you want to avoid boats and piers, that can be quite useful. Of course, you can switch back and forth. So our particular route took us up to Pearl Island, then we went around Pearl Island, and we went on to Posey Island, and then past McCracken Point, out to Battleship Island, and around the island. And then we came back to Posey Island. And if you want to get super accurate, you can switch back to satellite and land on the exact beach. But we took a rest stop at Posey Island. Then after that, we went back around Pearl Island. And you can see how I'm navigating around the piers. And we went back to our starting point. Okay, and you can see as I've clicked all these points, you basically see the distance adding up here. This one was about 4.5 miles, 7.24 kilometers. Total distance, that's round trip. And if I zoom back out, you can see the overall trip again, and you can actually see the incremental distances along the way as well, which is really handy, between the points. Now, one of the things you want to be really careful of is tides, currents, and winds. So tides can sometimes block a shallow route, drastically changing distances if you have to go around, and more work if you have to portage. Currents can either help you if you are going with the current, of course, which effectively shortens the distance, or currents can hold you back if you're paddling against them, effectively lengthening your paddling distance. Of course, wind has a similar effect to current, making distances seem longer or shorter depending on whether the wind is with you or against you. In terms of distance, we typically target about 5 to 10 miles for a relaxing day paddle. This paddle was a bit on the shorter side of that range. You could also go less or more depending on your gear, what type of kayak you have, your level of kayaking experience. In our next video, we are going to share more tips on how we plan for tides, currents, and winds. So be sure to subscribe and we will notify you when we release it. What questions do you have, or do you have other tips for measuring distances? We'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Happy kayaking. Bye for now.